Rin from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today we're going to share with you our top 11 scariest games of all time. Let's check it out. Welcome back to another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and I have once again summoned from the dark recesses of the internet, Danik.
Hey, it's me again.
Yes, and we're delving deep into the spookiest games we've ever played.
The weather's already great.
Yeah.
The fall's already here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm ready to get spooky.
I've already carved 2 pumpkins, but anyways.
Very nice.
Yeah. So we're both chickens.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and so we haven't played every scary game of all time, but we have managed to brave at least 11.
Yeah, and all of them are right here.
All of them are right here. Anyways, so please let us know what your scariest video games are down in the comments. I'm excited to read these, but I can't necessarily promise I'll play them.
Absolutely. You got to give me a scare factor here on whether or not I'm going to play it.
Yeah, seriously. And at number 11, we have The Thing, a PS2 game. Terrifying. I really love this. Have you ever played it?
I played it, but way back in the day when I got it from Blockbuster because they didn't have what I wanted, so I ended up with a Thing.
Happy accident for sure.
It was.
Honestly, The Thing is one of my favorite films of all time. And
one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it genuinely terrifying. I mean, I saw it at 14. It stuck with me ever since. So this game picks up canonically where the movie ends.
Yes.
And if you are kind of a film buff and you really love the original, there's a lot to kind of like see, you know.
What happened next?
Yeah, and it's terrifying. I don't know to what extent John Carpenter had in this. I can't remember. But I know he was involved at least with the story development, and it shows because it is just as disturbing as the original. And there's a lot of cool, third-person action parts of it, but you also have to kind of keep an eye on your party members.
Yep.
Because if their fear gets out of whack, they can eventually just lose their minds, or they might be infected and you not know. I'll leave it there.
There you go.
But it's terrifying.
They take some of the high points of the movie.
Yeah.
You probably already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they try to incorporate it as a gameplay type of thing. It was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to spoil it because it's such an incredible experience to watch the movie than play the game. And I highly recommend this one.
Highly recommend it, especially for fans of the Thing. You don't have to be, but it would help.
Yeah, for sure.
You will enjoy it.
Number 10, Fatal Frame 2. So this is an interesting game in that you remember when Paranormal Activity came out, word of mouth it's kind of like the Blair Witch, like word of mouth erupted about that.
Did a lot of heavy lifting.
So for Fatal Frame 2, I heard this is genuinely the scariest video game ever made. And I was like a moth to flame, like a crimson butterfly to flame. I was just
had to get it.
Sucked me in. And I'm not kidding, the first half of this game is genuine terror.
The opening is still maybe some of the scariest.
I get anxious watching it still. Now, there is a steep drop-off to where it did just stop being scary for me.
Yeah.
But my God, that first half of the game was nightmare fuel. For anybody who doesn't know, Fatal Frame, you literally have to take pictures of ghosts. And, of course, you have to let them get close enough to get them right framed up in the shot. There ain't no long lens on this camera. You got to get right up on them sometimes. Really terrifying, very effective, and I think just the lighting effects of this, like walking around the town.
It had a very good atmosphere.
Yes.
The noise,
the ambient noise is just
unsettling.
Yeah.
Oppressive.
Oh my God.
It's a very effective.
I got goosebumps right now just talking about it. It just sticks with you.
Yeah. It like you said, it's been how long since we've played it? I can still picture that. The town the girl ran into following the butterfly.
Oh, God, yes. I was so angry at her.
I know.
Why are you doing this to your sister? All right, anyways, you need to play it. Let me know if you have down in
mildly disturbing.
Oh, yeah, very disturbing.
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting.
Number 9. Eternal Darkness.
Oh, I loved Eternal Darkness. If you haven't played Eternal Darkness, go check it out.
I need to.
It's one of those games, I know you are a big fan of Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
This was made by Silicon Knights, who did the Metal Gear Solid remake for GameCube. So they kind of incorporate some similar stuff. So one thing that they did that Metal Gear Solid was known for was the Psycho Mantis, reading your memory card.
Okay.
Eternal Darkness really took that kind of idea and went crazy with it, including reading your memory card.
Which was spooky at the time.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. So the one thing that they like to do was play with the fourth wall and stuff like that, and the TV's volume, like it would really help if you had like an old CRT.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like the volume would go down, the input would change, the GameCube would reset. I always wondered, did somebody think the game, like their console, actually screwed up and they turned the game off when it was just like, trying to mess with the player. So as you're playing, the protagonist always changes, but they have this persisting sanity meter. And as they would go more insane, crazier things would happen. Like you'd enter a room and their arm would fall off, their leg would fall off, and their head would explode. And then they'd like snap into, and the game's like, oh god.
So it's essentially like Event Horizon.
Totally.
Happening. Okay.
And so, but that, like, again, the fourth. Then as they got super insane, your input on your TV changed. Like that crazy stuff would start happening.
It's just screwing with you pretty hard.
Like blood would be on the screen and stuff like. It turns out the people who made this game that they could never pull the magic again, and that's a shame.
But that's awesome. Eternal Darkness.
And one of the few rated M games published by Nintendo. Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know that. Wow.
It started off life on like 64, then to PlayStation, then it had a crazy development history.
Dang, that's awesome.
Sequel never. It's all right though.
Number 8, Phasmophobia.
I would have never believed a multiplayer game could be scary.
Yeah.
And then Phasmophobia shows up.
Yeah, this game to me has always been really interesting to me. I want to watch it be played, but I'm too much of a chicken to play it myself, especially in VR. I hear there's a VR version of this.
Yeah. There sure is. We did you ever watch like the ghost hunting shows?
All the time.
I was curious if you ever did.
Yeah, Nuke's Top 5 is a frequent channel for me. I watch on YouTube too. So.
And this game is just that you and the boys take your truck full of spooky goods and go into a house.
Your EVP meters.
Oh yeah.
Your spirit boxes. Okay.
If you for those who haven't played it, it is highly recommend you play with 4 players and have some friends who aren't going to make fun of you for getting really scared.
Really.
Because you're going to get locked into a room and they're not going to be able to get you out, and a ghost is going to kill you, and it's going to be terrible. But there will be so the setup will be, hey, there's this woman in this house.
Yeah.
She's haunting it. Here's her name, and they want you to incorporate your microphone and actually.
Oh my god.
So
immersion is the name of the game.
Don't play this on Discord. If you are, you're doing yourself a disservice. Okay. Use the game's audio because it has staspatial, depending on how far away you are, and then if you're talking on the radio, the ghost will talk through it, and static interrupt you.
So if you hear old Ren squeal in terror in the basement, it sounds like he's in the basement.
It's a good romp with some butts.
The perfect Halloween season game.
You I'm sure it's about to be Halloween. I'm sure there'll be a big update. It'll be on sale. You should check it out. Don't play it in VR. It's terrifying.
Number 7, Alien Isolation.
What is it with VR being terrifying?
I cannot imagine this game on VR.
I only played it in VR.
Really?
Good night.
Well, it's just interesting because I feel like this game did an excellent job of capturing the feeling of being the powerless person running from the serial killer. Because Alien was such an influential movie of horror, not only in space, but just that there's this unstoppable force and everyone else is at its mercy.
And it's around you all the time kind of thing. And what was really cool about Isolation was the game's graphics are good, but it's the art style really made it look like the movie set, and the environment, it had a weird film grain that just really sold it to me as the old movie. It was so cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's what happens when fans of the original IP really pour themselves into the development of the game, and I feel it really shows.
I totally agree.
But yeah, what I love about this is how it essentially takes a lot of this kind of hiding mechanics that we've seen really pop up from kind of the indie scene. I feel with horror games and kind of the scavenging aspect of games, and really just apply it in a very respectful tribute to the Alien franchise to just resounding success. I hope this isn't the last we've seen of this.
Me either.
And I think it's fantastic. I would love to see something like this be applied to other famous IPs and such like that. Like, we've already talked about Eternal Darkness, but how excellent would it be to have like an Event Horizon game with like an Eternal Darkness? Yeah. Anyways, Alien Isolation, very terrifying game. Very well done. Number 6, Resident Evil 7.
Oh, the Baker family.
Oh my God, dude.
What a great game. I unfortunately I didn't get to play this in VR.
Oh man, no.
I always wondered how the
there's
arm
just straight up
scene
no.
works.
Yeah, no. I saw the original opening of it where, you know, there's the initial attack in VR, and I can honestly say I couldn't make it through that game.
Oh, I don't know if I can do it either.
But what's excellent here is like this really revitalized Resident Evil.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like there's a fan for every game out there, but Resident Evil 6 was kind of famous for being a very low point in the series for the fans.
It got a little action-y.
Got a little action-y. And Resident Evil 7 was excellent because it really brought back that kind of methodical, not clunky controls by any means, but definitely much more toned down from the action experience that we kind of seen in 6. And it incorporated this horrifying, like, Louisiana cult, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, grotesque horror that is just terrifying.
I loved it. It was a really, really fun game.
Yeah.
The RE engine really shone through on the game.
And the graphics are excellent.
Yeah.
But as good as they are, it is a disturbing looking game. I mean, if you're squeamish, no.
Just like the dining room table scene when you're really first brought into the Bakers.
Oh my God.
Home. Ooh.
Yeah, no.
Not for the squeamish.
I'm tapping out. Yeah, I could not imagine that in VR though.
I couldn't either. Just the entire because like the whole game is like explicitly in first person if anyone hasn't played it, and they do a lot of like the enemy characters or scary things are like in your face.
Right.
Like it's a very poignant plot of these characters just running their mouth like you're not getting out of here kind of stuff.
Yeah. They're right. I'm not getting out of here.
But if you're in VR and they're like right up against like. I don't know, that'd be unsettling.
A little too spooky for me, but. Number 5, f.e.a.r.
This was one of the first PC games I ever bought when I got a cool PC and
oh really?
Yeah, what a bad first choice. This game scared the pants off of me. This is a good story. So when I first got it, I hadn't actually bought f.e.a.r. yet.
Yeah.
I was able to get the demo. Ooh, remember demos?
Oh god. Yeah.
And so the demo ended up being a little bit different from the full game. And there was a scene like it kind of has you in a hospital, imagine that. And as you're like I'm playing at like 3 in the morning.
As one does.
I'm still living at my parents' house. Yeah. They're like just across the hall. And as you're walking towards this door, there's like a glass window in the door, and this like demon flies through the window. I like stood up out of my chair, just out of like guttural reaction, unplugged my headset, and the volume just blasted through my parents' house.
Oh my god!
Oh, that went over like a
lead balloon.
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
I'm like, what do you say? Oh, sorry, Dad, I got scared. I'm 13, 14 years old.
Right. The game got me so bad. The one I remember it got me the most is I think you were heading down a ladder.
Oh, dude.
And it does the classic like you go and you turn, and then as soon as you turn to go down, she's right there.
But then it did it again when you got to the bottom of the ladder.
It was
got
like
me twice.
Because like you feel like, oh thank God, the scare's over. I got at least 5 minutes before it gets me again. No, right in your face, dude. Because if I remember right, and I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, it played well.
Yeah, and the AI, the enemy design was like really, really inventive at the time, and they would fish you out of places you were.
Right.
I don't want to speak too specifically, but they won awards for like the AI design separate from the game.
Really?
It was supposed to be like some pretty crazy technology.
That's excellent.
f.e.a.r. was, if nothing else, a great shooter.
Yeah.
It really was, but it was also terrifying.
Was there a nail gun?
Yeah, it had a very fun nail gun.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
They'd go flying across the room and stick to a wall. It was good stuff.
Yeah. Number 4, Resident Evil Remake.
A classic.
Yeah, genuinely, like, because what's interesting is, like, when this game came out, I remember kind of feeling like, older games are spooky, but they can't ever really scare you like that. But for me, as a kid, I could never beat the original Resident Evil. So I kind of felt taunted by the game. So when they were remaking it, I was like, oh, okay, I can do it now. Like, I'm older now, and I can get through this game. This game is genuinely horrifying.
For sure.
I thought it was just terrifying start to finish, and I almost couldn't do it again. There's a scene in the garden. I will not spoil it, but there's like a surprise attack that happens, and it scared me so bad I felt my heart skip a beat. It was just horrifying to me. And, even though it had the tank controls, I feel like this was kind of the crown jewel of remakes back then, and even still to this day. I know a lot of people want to knock pre-rendered backgrounds, but this game, it still looks excellent. Yeah. And I just felt like this was the definitive way to do a genuine remake of a game. And I feel like it's excellent. Nowadays, we have much more experimental remakes to varying degrees of success, but I feel still to this day, Resident Evil Remake for the GameCube is one of the best remakes of all time.
I totally agree. It's kind of wild what remakes happened from like 1996 to 2001, whatever that is, and like relative to like how we are now.
Yeah.
Because that was even I still feel like Resident Evil Remake visually is a stunner.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know, art design or whatever, but it looks so cool. It's so convincing.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically, but like early in the game, you kind of get outside of the mansion, you run downstairs, and like that.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Oh yeah, nightmare.
I can
fuel.
picture I have such a vivid memory of the camera angle as you're running down, and like the way the shadows move with that.
Dude, it just did it so well. And this game also reminded me that shallow water can be some of the most terrifying things on all.
Yeah,
I think it's towards the end of the game. I beat it once and then I never played it again because I could tell myself then I conquered it. But it is still like, I don't know, man.
I don't either. And when's the remake of the remake coming?
Oh, dude.
I'll play it.
Yeah, I'll play it. I ain't proud. Number 3, Dead Space. Yeah, it had to be on the list. I feel like for me, Dead Space is one of the most excellent interpretations of, because I've mentioned Event Horizon before.
Sure.
And just kind of that cosmic horror meeting sci-fi. Dead Space was able to take grotesque body horror, a Lovecraftian sci-fi, and just an excellent third-person over-the-shoulder action game like Resident Evil 4 and just crush it.
Yes.
And they're not shy about the fact that they said, yeah, we were heading a certain way. I think they were actually remaking a System Shock or something like that. And then they played Resident Evil 4 and said, hey, this is excellent. This is the way games should play as a horror game. And then they just revamped it. And I feel like it really shows in Dead Space that there is just... And what's interesting about it is Dead Space is its own thing. I'm sure it draws inspiration from something out there. But at that time, there was really nothing like the necromorphs out there. Something that you had to dismember the limbs. And it was terrifying. So the different gameplay aspects, we had been trained for years with zombie movies, zombie games, Resident Evil. You want to hit them in the head. Hit them in the head. But
they went out of their way to say no.
No.
Dismember limbs.
Yeah, and that just made it like the sound design of the stomp. Oh, just the lighting effects. The uniqueness
of all the weapons.
Yes. There was this one, it was like a gravity gun mixed with like a bandsaw.
Yeah.
Insane. But the plasma cutter is such an iconic, useful, diverse weapon. The stasis fields. This game just landed on all fronts. And even though I think I enjoy Dead Space 2 a little bit more, Dead Space 1 is just peak horror to me. I love that game. It's fun to play, genuinely terrifying. Crushed it. Are you excited for the remake? Dude, as I've gotten older, I've become sometimes I can't do it. I'm going to try to do it, but that game still holds up as Spook Town to this day. So I can't imagine when you put 4K resolution and dynamic lighting in it. Like good lord.
Dead Space is one of those games getting remade that I'm like, the old one still totally holds up.
And what worries me is like I know they'll mix up a little bit where monsters jump out at because I played the original Dead Space so much I like memorized where everything jumps out. But if I play the remake, I'll be like, they're gonna switch this up,
dude. It's a mind game on its own.
Yeah.
Didn't you get the crazy achievement in Dead Space where you only saved like twice or something?
I did in the second one where you had to beat the game without dying on like I think it was the hardest difficulty.
It was a wild.
Yeah, but then you get the foam finger gun, which was the most fun I ever had in a horror game.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he just goes bang, 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 and it literally explodes everything. And it has infinite ammo and the fastest trigger pull. Because at that point you've done everything. Yeah, it was so fun.
I never knew that.
Oh my
That's
gosh!
pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Anyways, it was excellent. Number 2, PT. It had to be on the list.
It had to. Who doesn't? Okay. I don't think PT would have ever lived up to what PT would become. Do you think that's fair to say now?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely worth discussion, but I feel like for the length and the idea they had, the repeating room, very contained, horrifying experience. It's a controlled experience. I don't know how you could have elongated that to like a 12-hour long game or like an 8-hour long game.
Right.
So I feel like, some people might argue like, well, is PT a game experience? I'm counting it because it is, while it was kind of a proof of concept.
Sure. It's however old now.
Yeah.
And it's still has never really left.
Yeah.
Like every Halloween, we're doing it.
Yeah.
People are going to talk about PT again.
Yeah, I agree. And I know, like, this was supposed to be Silent Hill
reboot.
Yeah, reboot or something. But I just like the idea, the horror, because there's so many layers to it. The situation itself is hell on earth. A husband snapping, and you're essentially, it almost feels like you're in his final moments, firing in his mind before he goes down.
Of just his guilt.
Yeah, and like, it's just, so much of it is just wrong. Even your first walkthrough of the hall, it's bad.
You already know this is bad.
Yeah.
The radio is explaining what has happened.
Yes.
And before you as the player know that radio is talking about you.
Yeah.
You know that ain't good.
Well, I mean, like, because everybody kind of knows with Silent Hill, there is no other protagonist you would not want to be in any video game ever than a Silent Hill protagonist.
It's true.
I'm sure, I know there's some happy endings that can happen, but
those aren't canon, I'm sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, but just genuinely, like, horrifying. And now that I'm a father and I'm older, there's some horror that just it's too evil. It's, like, too eerie for me. And PT, like, hits that.
I totally agree. It's disturbing.
It's disturbing. So you have the horror and the unease, like the eeriness of a Silent Hill game, but you have just the shock value, terror that is some of those jump scares. I mean, who isn't just inherently afraid of an open, cracked door that's dark on the inside?
Yeah.
Who isn't terrified of that?
And you walk past the door and it unlocks and slowly opens behind you.
Yeah. It's just...
Are you kidding me?
It hits everything so well. So yeah, I mean, PT is one of the saddest game development. What could have been. But honestly, it has reached such a legendary and just eternal terror status. I don't know if it could have ever topped that.
And despite all of it, it totally left a mark on...
It's probably copium, us saying, no, it couldn't have lived up. It couldn't. It's probably
That's
us...
good it never came out.
Yeah, it's probably good, yeah. It's copium for sure, because I couldn't
You're
imagine
right.
playing an 8-hour version of that.
No,
I
couldn't stay. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, v.e.a.r. PT. I think I've seen somebody was modding it.
There's like, forget it.
No.
I played so there's like a Half-Life Alyx mod remake of PT, right?
Yeah.
I got in there, dude, and like you mentioned earlier about the Dead Space remake, twisting the jump scares.
Yeah.
Once I thought that the mod creator could do whatever he
wanted, yeah.
that messed with me on such a like I couldn't do it anymore.
It could be on the second cycle.
I was like sweating, and immediately once that thought occurred to me, I started sweating, and I couldn't.
And that's how. I mean, that's just a testament to how much PT got in people's heads.
For sure, as a total mind game.
For sure.
Don't touch that dial now. We're just getting started.
Number 1, Silent Hill 2. Keeping with the Silent Hill themes here, Silent Hill 2 to this day is, for me, still the scariest game ever made. I haven't played it in years. I know some people say it might not hold up in some aspects, but Silent Hill 2 really just kind of hits this ambience and aura of terror to where you feel like you're entering a place of relative safety. Like when you open up in that bathroom, that truck stop bathroom, and then you kind of walk down. But right from the start, there's just like, have you ever seen like Mulholland Drive?
I have not.
Okay. Well, there's a scene in that where there's this guy, he has like this reoccurring terrible thing. I won't ruin it, but like there's just this anxiety of when you know you're about to see something horrifying, and it's that drought right before you see the thing that's terrifying. There's like that level of unease throughout all of Silent Hill 2 for me. And then you see Pyramid Head, which is immediately one of the most iconic, scary things. I mean, but like there's scenes like where you'll be walking and you haven't seen Pyramid Head, and you'll walk by a window and he'll be right behind you. And the dude can like kill you in one hit. You have to run. So it's like, it's one of those situations where the game has genuinely terrifying things, but it never lets up because it's always a threat. Like some of my complaints about other scary games is by the end you've kind of mastered. But in Silent Hill 2, it was always scary, but you were always felt at risk. And I just felt like Silent Hill 2, just the nasty, rusted, barbed wire
aesthetic
hell world.
Yes.
I'm not up to date on my Silent Hill lore because the games scare me too much. And Silent Hill 2, to this day, like the music track, there's like weird synth waves. It immediately kind of sets you at unease. And you almost feel like, am I playing this? Am I going to like accidentally slip into some nether realm and go outside and there's going to be fog everywhere? And then suddenly you're going to be judged by all the sins of your past. And like, it's like you feel guilty. I don't want to get too psychological here, but it's almost like Silent Hill 2 in a way is patterned to make you feel guilty. And like you have to finish the game because like everything's wrong. And that's just it. Like, there's always this level of terror and unease, like you just arrived on a scene right after something evil happened. And it's that start to finish for me. And to this day, I've never, I remember my dad used to watch me play games, and Silent Hill 2, he actually left the room. He's like, well, I'm good. Like, it was like a jump scare with like Pyramid Head. Or I think the scene that did it is there's this one scene where you're walking down a hall, and then there's like these bars at the end of the hall, and there's a key on the other side. And you get that moment where you're trying to reach through and get it. And if I remember right, this little girl comes out of the darkness and just kicks the key out of your hand and then runs off. And it's just like, hey, wait! You have all this tension built up. And it's not this giant fake jump scare. It's just like the tension never fully lets go.
No.
And it's just that.
They raise the tension up here, and they make you think we're gonna go for it, and then they don't.
Yeah,
and that makes it so much worse.
And it's just like, when you meet like these other human characters throughout the game,
they're
kind
so
of like
bizarre.
Yeah, I want you to not be crazy. Can you just not be the way that you are? Because I need some respite.
You need that friend.
I want to feel like I have a partner to get
connection to reality.
There's nothing. And you're screwed. And you feel like everyone here is like just as evil and as crazies. And then like you start to wonder, well, what the heck's up with me? Yep. Like the main character,
why is James here?
What's going on here? And it's just horrifying start to finish. And even though there are scarier jump scares here or there
are better games.
I do feel like if the devil could make a game about purgatory or a game about the afterlife, he would make this.
Silent Hill 2 and that atmosphere.
Yeah, I really do. And I feel like that's why it'll always stay with me.
It's definitely one of the most memorable experiences.
For sure. Well, there you have it. There's Two Chickens top 11 list of scary games of all time. Obviously, we haven't covered them all here, so please let us know your picks down in the comments. Which one of these games was too spooky for you? Let us know.
It's fall season. We're ready.
Yeah.
We're in the mood for some spooky games.
Right. And I just want to give a big shout out to those who are supporting us on the channel, all the Hallowed members and party members. Thank you so much. Your support is humbling. It means a lot. And if you liked watching today's video, please consider subscribing. It helps out the channel so much. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.